Hello and welcome to the Federal. This is AI with Sanket. This is the AI of news because news in India today requires not artificial but analytical intelligence. On the 20th of July, what happened on the streets of Delhi, I believe, is the reason why the government was on the back foot and eventually it led to the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Yes, the students were there, the students were protesting, but it was the police excesses that pushed the government on the back foot. This is not something which is being said or alleged by a certain section. This is now being said by the Rapid Action Force itself. In their own internal assessment, they do admit to have used equipment which was not meant for Delhi. It is meant for front lines, not even used there. Pellet guns, other types of methods. And the RAF has admitted in their internal report that excesses were committed. Now, if that is the case, where is the accountability? And that is going to be our big issue of discussion here. The matter reached the Supreme Court as well. Dr. Colin Gonsalves, senior advocate, is also with us. In just a short moment, we'll have Mr. Prakash Singh also. He's a veteran policeman. So that perspective will also be significant. Dr. Gonsalves, I want to know from you, how do you look at this? While the entire movement was to fix accountability in the education sector, how about fixing accountability in the policing sector?
Frankly, I'm quite amazed at what happened because I have seen attack after attack after attack by the police on unarmed people all the time. It happens everywhere, it happens all the time. You beat them mercilessly. Like the photographs in the present instance show the police charging at people with vehemence and anger and energy to break the skull, to break the legs, to break the hands. But this is the first time I've seen the head of the CRPF saying, we made a mistake. And in the article which appeared in the newspapers, it was not just we made a mistake, but gave full details of how they made a mistake. And the first mistake they made, she said, was that they brought in police from Chhattisgarh and Jammu and Kashmir, where the situation is very different. And why is the situation in Jammu and Kashmir very different? Because you beat the hell out of them there as well. You break skulls, you break bones. But she said, we thought this was a conflict zone, maybe. That seems to be the implication of what she said. Now, that's a very important admission, but I don't rate it too high. Because I think in a very short while, we'll have other beatings like this, and it will carry on. And why? Because we never catch the main person who allowed the beatings to take place, which of course is our beloved Home Minister. He allows people to be beaten and their bones broken all across the country. He just has to tell the Commissioner of Police, go ahead, smash them, and they smash them. So it is an improvement in the sense that the lady who heads the CRPF has made a candid admission, which we never do in India. But unless we catch the main person, this is not going to stop, either in Delhi or anywhere else in the country.
Dr. Gonsalves, are you suggesting that the Home Minister take responsibility and, face accountability, resign maybe?
In any country of Europe, let's say, in any democratic country, if you shoot pellet guns at people, if you blind them in the eye, if you attack school children, the Home Minister would have to resign on the spot. Take Europe, for example. Could any Home Minister carry on after doing these kind of things? So India has a standard which is very low, a moral standard, an ethical standard, which is very low, rock bottom. that you can beat, injure, kill, and the next day you're back at work as usual. The Home Minister is never held accountable. It's not Devendra, not Pradhan that we had to catch. Pradhan is a small fry. We had to ask the Home Minister, Mister, time for you to go. But we never do that. We never have the courage to do that. We can't even think of asking the Home Minister to go. But you battered people badly. You battered children badly. You have to go. That should be our standard.
And that too when his forces are admitting to excesses. This is an admission.
Yes, of course. They don't care. The police force in this country has turned out to me, sorry for saying this, but I'm not overstating the point. They have turned out to be the largest body of organized crime in the country. Who turns them into criminals? The politicians, who treat the police force as if they are their servants. And the senior ranks of the police force are only too happy to oblige their political masters. Yes,
Dr.
I
Colin
can.
Gonzalez, I want to ask you about the courts and the way the courts looked at this issue. You see, before Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, and by no means is this any insinuation on the courts of this country, I just want to know your view. The initial reactions post the 20th of July, or the statements, which now the Chief Justice says were misconstrued, were don't drag courts into this, said the Delhi High Court, and don't waste our time, said by the Chief Justice of India. Now he says this was in a different context. It was not a serious petition. From there to now, the Chief Justice saying that this is, let's put on that graphic on the screen right now for the Chief Justice said today, so that we don't end up misquoting him. I don't want to do that. He says, right to peaceful protest absolutely guaranteed. Police excesses cannot be justified merely because of agitation. Uniform nationwide protest protocol sought. All connected pleas to be heard on Tuesday. Dr. Colin Gonzalez, the court now seems to be in agreement. The Rapid Action Force itself now seems to agree that they committed excesses, and yet not a finger has risen, nothing has moved. How
Well,
about
I must
accountability
say,
now?
yeah, I must say, with due respect to the Chief Justice, that he's just backtracking. He's been caught saying the wrong things. He's been caught saying wrong things with vehemence. He sort of exhibited a very wrong attitude, totally wrong attitude towards the people of India, towards ordinary people, towards protesters. And now he's caught having to explain why he spoke the way he did. I have never seen, I've practiced in the Supreme Court 35 years now. I have never seen a Chief Justice talk like this. Never. And I must tell you that when I entered the profession many, many years ago, if a thing like this had happened, the Chief Justice would have suo moto summoned the Commissioner of Police and everybody else and taken decisive action. What did he do? He scolded a person who came with a letter petition. Now, a letter petition is part of our grand tradition in PILs. It's called epistolary jurisdiction. A person in distress who can't get a lawyer and file the case writes a letter. And I saw the letter that this person had written, a very detailed letter with annexures, giving photographs and so on and so on. And he scolded him, saying, in my registry, there's no PIL register. There is just a mere letter. And so what? I spoke to that person and he told me I gave 10 judgments of the Supreme Court on epistolary jurisprudence. That you must take it, the judges must take it, the registrar will give it to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice will have it converted into a public interest litigation by appointing an amicus curiae, a senior lawyer to help him. But he didn't do anything of the sort. And it is the sign of the times we live in that the judiciary has become dead, dead as a doornail to excesses of the central government, unable to stand up, unable to oppose the central government because Mr. Modi is a very powerful prime minister, very powerful, winning election after election after, and I must say aside, interfering with the judiciary on a scale never before seen. Never before has the executive interfered with the judiciary like the present executive does. So the judiciary is by and large scared of taking action against the government at the highest level, fearing the consequences of that action. And we have seen the consequences of that action. A judge in the High Court who stands up to the central government, he might be senior in the High Court, but he'll be superseded. And somebody else will come to the Supreme Court. That's not just a figment of an imagination. That's the experience of judges in the High Courts. And I suppose they must be very bitter that they did their duty and stood up to power. That's what the judiciary is meant to do.
So do you feel that now, at least, that there is an admission from the Rapid Action Force, from the Central Paramilitary Forces? Number one, there is no admission from the Delhi police. And that is also a sorry picture, because we saw very clearly on camera where plainclothes policemen, or I don't know who they were wielding the lathi. So in a situation like this, Dr. Colin Gonsalves, do you feel that a fair and detailed probe must be ordered? It cannot be left to just the utterances or an internal document or an internal report of one agency. However, a larger investigation into the police excesses, as have now been proved.
It is never going to happen, Saket. It is never going to happen. And those who promise you these inquiries and so on, they have not the slightest intention of doing it. Or what they'll do is, they'll ask the police to conduct an inquiry against their own policemen, which is an impossible thing to do. Or they'll ask the CBI, who can also be controlled. But it's possible to have an independent inquiry done by investigators that are independent of the central government. Will they ever allow? Never. They will never allow. And I must tell you, before this was the Jamia beating. Saket, you may not remember. 99 students were beaten
I
so
remember,
brutally. One lost his eye in the Jamia beating. Bones were broken. Skulls were cracked open. And it came to the High Court, 5 years, 6 years in the High Court. The High Court hasn't moved an inch to punish the police. Now, if your Delhi High Court doesn't have the courage to stand up, who will do it in this country? It's only social movements like what you saw on TV now recently. It's only uprisings, non-violent uprisings, of the kind that is happening in different parts of the world. Only that will bring some semblance of accountability. Otherwise, India doesn't change at all. India is incapable. The largest democracy in the world has become the most undemocratic country. With all our culture and tradition and all that, we are at heart a very ruthless people, particularly against the poor. Ruthless.
Dr. Colin Gonsalves, I would like to draw a parallel here with the last time something like this was seen, at least in central Delhi. If my memory serves me correctly, it was the Nirbhaya agitation. We were covering it on the ground, and tear gas shells, water cannons, and you name it, and it was being used by the police against students, against girls,
Yeah.
against children, against civilians. These were, I mean, you can't really accuse or call everyone deep state, which this government does.
Yeah.
But do you think it is in the nature of law enforcement agency? You see, there's the other side. You speak to any police officer and they will say that hitting back or lathi charge is always our last resort. When we have exploited all other options, that is when we do this. Was that done this time around?
No, of course not. They would have never started the lathi charge at all. Violence is in the blood of the police. Violence is in our politicians. You want to change the system, this government must go. If you want to change the system, this government, like Pradhan, must go. Well, that's a difficult thing to do unless the people really mobilize all across the country.
No, but
Otherwise,
Dr.
it is
Colin Gonsalves, here is the thing. Policing in all states under all governments. I was referring to UPA too. That was a different government. And yet the police action happened. Now, I can agree with you on the intensity of the police action. That can be a subject matter of discussion. But all police forces to control a situation in the name of law enforcement and controlling do this, whether this government or any other government.
I'll give you an example. Look at the London riots. Went on for days. Not peaceful like we Indians are. They were throwing Molotov cocktails at the police. Not a single act of revenge by a single police officer. Standing the ground, holding your shields, holding the batons, marching, 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 marching. When a police officer got injured, they don't react with violence and revenge. They spread their ranks, they bring the injured policeman in, and he's taken to an ambulance and he's sent to hospital. 8, 9, 10 days of vociferous rioting. And I was interested to find out at the end how many people injured. Not a single person killed, and a handful of people injured. Property, of course, destroyed. So it's policing. Your police force has become a criminal force. It's become a violent, ultra-violent gunda force. He got a lawyer of mine. Can you imagine? Manik Gupta, young lawyer, one of my best lawyers. He went to the police station. He argued with the police officer. For arguing with the police officer, they caught him by his collar, took him to a room where there's no CCTV camera, and beat him. Lawyer from my office, 5 days ago. Ours is not a cultured country. Saket is uncultured to the core. Because our rich and powerful allow it, all politicians are steeped in that culture of violence, discrimination, and hatred for poor people. So what can you say? This is Indian democracy. But
My final question.
it'll all rebound on us.
Yes, Dr.
No
Gonsalves, my
nation
final
can
question.
be. Yeah.
Now that the Supreme Court seems to be in agreement that violence should not have been used and excesses should not have been committed, but these are all oral observations. They do not mean much apart from generating headlines. Do you expect that the court, now that it is cognizant of the excesses being committed, will take action against the forces if the forces don't take action against their own?
Saket, nothing is going to happen. I don't believe the judiciary will do anything. I don't believe this court will do anything apart for some, cosmetic things here and there. Will police people at the highest level be caught? Will the Chief Justice's court have the courage to take the Home Minister to task and say you are responsible? Will he even take the Commissioner of Police to task? I don't believe in the judiciary and its ability to carry out basic and fundamental reforms. I don't believe that. So maybe we should meet after about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months and find out if I'm right or
Surely,
wrong.
surely we will, Dr. Gonzalez, and I'll invite you again, and we'll converse. Let's just hope. I'm sure deep inside your heart, hope against hope. You also hope that you are proven wrong, and
Yes,
that something good comes out of.
yes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Gonzalez, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Saket. Bye.